Hi, and welcome to VIBEZ Daily. This is a daily devotional curated by VIBEZ Church to help you practice the way of Jesus and be all that God has called you to be. You have joined us for our year-long series titled Devoted. Acts 2:42 tells us that the followers of Jesus were devoted to the apostles' teaching, to fellowship, to breaking of bread, and to prayer. This podcast was created to provide context and commentary for what you read each day. Just before our friends begin discussing today's reading, we want to invite you not only for fellowship, but for prayer as well. We have created the Vibe Daily Chat group to offer you fellowship and a community where you can state your observations, ask questions about the reading or the podcast. You can join us by downloading the VIBEZ Church app in your favorite app store. Click Join the Conversation and join us today. And finally, we hope that you can join us for prayer. Prayer happens Monday through Friday, and more information on that can be found on the VIBEZ Church app under prayer. Now, let's begin our conversation on today's reading.
All right, welcome back to the VIBEZ Daily podcast. We are so excited to have you with us. It is day 87 of the Devoted series. We have been reading through the entire Bible this year from cover to cover. And today we'll conclude the book of 1 Samuel. So we will have another book that we knock off here. By we, I mean my wife, Victoria, and I, who are here today discussing. And then, of course, any of you who are reading with us. But yeah, one more book to complete today, and really excited about that. We actually will complete 1 Samuel and then dabble in 2 Samuel a little bit here in today's conversation. But yeah, we pick up here at 29, chapter 29, last left off essentially with Saul doing some creepy summoning of spirits. And Samuel wakes up out of his death and sleepy slumber and essentially says, man, what is happening is exactly what I told you what would happen. And in fact, I'm gonna take it up a notch and tell you tomorrow you will die. And so that's kind of where we left off. It's the last thing Saul hears. And we pick up here in 29. And in 29, we are reminded that David is among the Philistines. That's kind of where we left last time we saw him. He was with the Philistines. And now he's here with the Philistines and kind of preparing to go to war with them, like on their side in 29. What do you think was interesting about the way 29 played out?
Yeah, I mean, 28 yesterday, David was hyped. Like, oh yeah, like I'm excited to go. Let me show you what your boy can do. Like, finally, I mean, you've heard rumors, but you get to see it for yourself. But now, like when he gets up there, they're like, wait, hold on, who these Hebrews? Like, who these? And they have, like you said, they don't have the same rapport that Akish has with David.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, no, not a chance. Like, and the fact that like they overrule him, right? That like, and I thought Akish was the man. Like, I thought he was head honcho here, but it does seem like they were not having it.
Yeah.
And for good reasons, as we end up seeing that, like, if they actually win in war, number one, it would possible that David's hand would be against Saul, which he's been trying to avoid this whole time.
Right.
And two, as we will eventually see, that they would not have figured out that his hometown, or the town that he's living in right now has been raided, right? And his wife's been taken away. And so part of me was just like, oh, it sucks that, they don't get to go into battle.
Yeah.
But it to me, it was just like the Lord was saving David. Like, so that only the Lord's hand was against Saul, and there was no confusion about that. And then two, that it gives him an opportunity to save his family.
Yeah, like you said, it makes complete sense. I mean, one of them mentioned yesterday, it feels like, are we friends or foe? Because it keeps going back and forth, right? Between them and the Philistines and really some of these other lands around them. But yeah, like, he built this relationship with Akish, but like the other Philistines is like, nah, son, I don't know this guy. And I mean, even they know his song, right? Isn't this the David that they sing about? That, Saul has killed thousands, but David is 10,000s. And like, nah, I heard the song. I know his reputation.
Yeah.
This guy is the enemy. Like, I don't trust him.
Yeah. And it started with him killing us.
Right.
And our Goliath.
And Goliath. Yes. Let's not forget. Nobody has forgotten
Yeah.
that you started this, David.
Yeah.
Okay? You started this. I mean, even though technically Goliath started it, he just
Finished it.
But yeah, again, it makes a lot of sense that that's what happens. But as you said, it does set us up for 30. Because ultimately, he doesn't get to go kind of into war. And they go a different direction here in chapter 30. So what stuck out to you here in 30?
I love, or I appreciate, and to David's advantage, like that they didn't kill anybody. They just like took everybody with them. But in verse 6, this version in ESV says, and David was greatly distressed. But in CSB, it says, David was in an extremely difficult position. And is that what yours says?
Yep.
Yeah, and so he's in this tough position because the people spoke of stoning him. And everybody was stressed out, right? But I love this last part of the verse. It says, but David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. And you know, when Aaron was with the Israelites and about to get stoned or threatened to be stoned, he made a golden calf, right? When like Moses was in front of the people at sometimes, like he slipped up sometimes, you know, like when Saul was just in front of the people and people were leaving, you know, he was doing unauthorized sacrifices and he was keeping stuff he wasn't supposed to keep. But here we see David, and David has strengthened himself
So good.
in the Lord.
Yeah.
I love that because it's like, Lord, you got to help me here.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a tight position, but what do I do? And so the very next thing that you say that he does is he goes to the priest. He goes to the priest and he's like, bring me the ephod so I can inquire of the Lord. Like, what should we do? Should we go after them? Should we take over them? You know what? And so I love that, like, this is the leader God called.
Yeah.
The one who is in a tight position, difficult situation, and the first thing he does is call upon the Lord.
Yeah.
For an answer.
Yeah.
For direction, for guidance, for provision, for protection, all of it. Like,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good. Because, you know, I think it's I think there is going to be a time in your life that you're going to feel like this.
Absolutely.
Like that it feels like everybody around you is against you. The people that was in your circle don't tend to agree. Or they're upset at you. You made them mad. Like you disappointed them, whatever the case may be. And what you do next determines so much about your life and your future, right? Because as you said, he could have built a calf, you know, unauthorized fire. Like he could have done all sorts of things, right? That like he chose to do. Think of modern day, like we could just go to the bar and get drunk. We could, you know what I'm saying, go out and do something irrational and whatnot. But like in those moments, can we instead be strengthened by the Lord and go and inquire of the Lord and find our strength to like persevere and push through as a result? So yeah, man, so much we can gain from David. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. But
yeah, and he gets a word from the Lord and he does exactly what God tells him to do.
Yeah.
Like that is.
Yeah, it gives him confidence that he can overtake those people and rescue them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so they do. They go to pursue them. They run into this Egyptian out of nowhere, which I thought was interesting.
Me too.
Like, I hadn't heard of Egypt in quite some time.
Yeah.
They find this Egyptian and yeah, there's that part of the story, and then, you know, he kind of leads them to these raiders. He helps them find the Amalekites, right, ultimately, so that he can go and rescue his people. And as you said, it is a blessing that they just kidnapped them and kill them, because it gave him a chance to actually get them back.
Yeah, and I love how they treated this Egyptian. Before they asked him, well, I don't know if this has actually happened chronologically the way that it is written, but as it is written, it seems like they took care of him before they started asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just see this man, they're like, oh man, like, come on, let's give him something to drink.
Yeah.
Let's give him something to eat.
Yeah.
Let's take care of him real quick. Hold on, like, you ain't ate in 3 days and 3 nights? So hold on, let me get you something. We got some stuff. Bring him something to eat. And they just see him out here, and obviously he says he was sick, so he's still sick, right? I'm sure he's still sick, even more so. And then they ask, well, who do you belong to? And where are you from?
Yeah.
Like, there was no like was just with the Amalekites. Oh, what? Like, let me give you some food now. Like, it seems like before they knew who he was and what he could do for them,
Yeah.
they were doing for him.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was interesting that like they didn't hold against him, that he technically was with the people that were raiding Ziklag, right? That he's just like, yeah, they abandoned me when I got sick, but like we raided the South Country, you know, and the territory of Judah and the South Country of Caleb, and we burned Ziklag, like, which is literally the place that all his people was just at, right? But that they essentially gave him a chance to redeem himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite verses in this though was verse 19, where it says, "Nothing of theirs was missing, from the youngest to the oldest, including the sons and daughters and all the plunder the Amalekites had taken. David got everything back."
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I love that from so many like perspectives. One that to me it was like God protected all of his stuff, right? And watched over it. But two, that also he got it back. Like, and, you know, it's just he ultimately doesn't lose anything by the time it's all said and done. And as you said, it's almost like it worked in his favor, as you said, that he doesn't go to war with the Philistines, because he gets to go get his stuff back in the meantime while the Philistines are going to go after Saul here. Yeah.
And it's so funny, these people who are like, no, they can't have that. No, it's so funny.
They ain't come out and fight with us.
They can't have none of our stuff. But in verse 22, I love how they call them like wicked and worthless fellows among the men who had gone with David, because we remember, like, he did pick up a riffraff. Like, these people who he was with was rough around the edges. They all didn't have the heart of David, right? As we've seen of the advice that they've given him over time and all of that. Like, they were still a little rough. So I feel like David's still trying to teach them like the ways of the Lord too. Like,
yeah, I mean, don't forget, these are the same cats that told him to kill Saul a little while ago, right? Like,
their advice has been good.
Every time he got close, they was just like, "Oh, this is a chance. The Lord gave him to you.
Get him.
The Lord gave him to you.
This is from the Lord.
Yeah, this is your chance to kill him."
Manna. but yeah, so I do love that he is trying to teach him. And became a mandate from that day forward, or statute from that day forward. That like those who watch the baggage also get to share in the plunder, you know. And I love that David, when he got to those people, he greeted them like, "Hey guys, what's up?" But these people, the other people, they weren't so friendly.
Yeah.
But then what really shocked me though at the very end of this chapter though was all the places that he went and gave gifts to out of the spoil and the plunder. And so like he goes to all these different places, Bethel, Ramoth, you know, I'm not even trying to name all these names, but all these places that he goes and he gives to them like thanks, like I didn't have anything to give before to you, as a thank you for letting me stay here and roam amongst your land, but here is a gift, which works in his favor, because when it comes time for him to become king, he's won the hearts of a lot of these people still, just out of his like generosity.
It's good. That's good. Okay, well, chapter 31, the conclusion of this book. Samuel's word comes to pass for what he told him. And so, like you said, it's fun. This is all happening kind of simultaneously, right? So like David's living with the Philistines. Saul is summoning Samuel. Samuel says you're going to die. David's going to go to war with the Philistines against the Israelites. They say, nah, you can't come. He goes to fight the Amalekites. and tries to get his family back. All the while, the Philistines have actually gone to Israel to go to war with Saul and them. So it's just like all this kind of happening at the same time in like these different places. But yeah, man, the Philistines go after Israel, and like I said, Samuel's word comes to pass for Saul and his sons. What stands out to you here in 31?
Sometimes I forget that Saul had more than one son. You know, until they name him again, I'm like, oh yeah, he did have like other sons. Jonathan's the highlighted one.
Yeah,
but that just made me sad. I was like, oh, not Jonathan. Like, I wish the Lord could have spared him. You know, because he was willing to ride on the side. Like, he could have been like, you know.
Yeah,
his partner in crime. But
yeah, it feels very much unfair.
It does, because he trusted in the Lord and all that. But like you had mentioned before, like just the consequences of Saul and his lifestyle. Like, you know, Jonathan had to go down too, and so that was sad.
I don't want to say anything bad about Jonathan because that's my guy right now. Yeah. Like, I've grown particularly fond of Jonathan these last couple weeks. I wonder, not assuming, not like trying to put anything on him. I wonder if some of this though, like, I don't know. I wonder if he had a choice of like whether to still stick with his dad through all of this, or if he could have like walked away and went with David. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know he's the son of the king, right? But I wonder if he kind of was this like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, like this whole situation. As much as he loved David and all that stuff, like, I mean, he still was serving his father. Yeah. And, you know, I don't know. Like, I wonder if it could have been a different story had he just like walked away and just said like, I won't do anything for you, Dad. Like, I won't go anywhere you tell me to go, because, you know, you're at this point you're on a, you know, I don't know. I'm just curious, like, if he could have survived had he just like gone with David instead. But you know, I'm not saying he was supposed to. There's nowhere that I see God says that like that's what he was supposed to have done. Yeah. But it's just my imagination.
Yeah. It's just like, Dad, if you're not rocking with the Lord, I'm out.
Yeah. I'm curious.
Yeah. I don't know, but they all died.
They do. And I mean, this is probably the first, I want to say, and one of the only that I'm aware of, like, instances of suicide kind of in scripture, that at least are articulated that way. Saul ultimately kills himself because no one wants to kill him because he's the king and he's the anointed. And pretty much just as David said earlier, somehow he's going to end up dying, like either of old age or war. It eventually becomes his own hand.
Yeah, which I don't know. Like, is this symbolic to like you done did this to yourself, Saul? Like, you done brought all this upon yourself? Yeah. Because of how you have acted, and even in his death, it was his own killing of himself. Like, yeah. So it even made it seem like it was like not just God's hand that did it, but like your own hand, Saul, has done this against yourself.
Yeah, it's very, very possible. It could be good. Like, it definitely some symbolism there. And I would never put that past God. Like, he definitely likes his symbols.
Yeah, like a little bit of God, a little bit of you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately his death, you brought it up, like, leads them to go get his body and bury him under that tamarisk tree you brought up, you know, the other day. And his death is what brings us to the conclusion of 1 Samuel. Yeah. Kind of how it ends. And so, 2 Samuel, 1 Samuel is about Saul as king. 2 Samuel is essentially about David, is, you know, him becoming king. But just before that, we do get one chapter where here in 2 Samuel 1, they're essentially responding to Saul's death. What stood out to you about this chapter?
Yeah, David wasn't playing. Like, David was true to his word, and part of me was just like, David, you didn't do all that. But he was serious, and he was just like, listen, don't raise your hand against the Lord's anointed. Yeah. Like, you thought you was bringing me good news? That ain't good news. That just means you done killed the Lord's anointing. Something that I've been avoiding for years.
Yeah, which is so crazy because we know, because we read it, that Saul kills himself.
Yeah.
But this guy comes and tries to take credit for killing Saul.
Yeah.
And I assume it's because he thinks, as you said, it's good news. Like, oh, I'm going to curry favor with David.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one that took him out for you, man. Now you the king, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I did my part. And as you said, David's like, nah, son. Like, that's not what I wanted. And he ultimately dies for his lie. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's Saul that kills himself.
I didn't even think about that.
Like, he lies.
Yeah.
And he ends up dying for it by the time it's said and done, because the lie he tells is one that David is not, happy with.
Well, sorry, Amalekite.
Yeah, it's a dumb lie. It's such a dumb lie.
I mean, this is the other thing. Like, David just came back from striking down the Amalekites, first of all.
Yeah.
Like, I just came back from killing all your people. And then here you are, astray.
Yeah.
Thinking that you were getting good with me. Yeah, I didn't even think about all that. That's good. That's good. But yeah, he took it. I mean, he executed him. He gone.
Yeah.
And then this lament for Saul and Jonathan. That's the hard thing for me.
I love it.
Like, I can understand that this entire song was about Jonathan.
Right, because it's a boy.
That makes sense. The fact that, like, in verse 23, Saul and Jonathan, beloved and lovely.
He loved Saul, man.
He did. You daughters of Israel, weep over Saul.
Yeah, despite what he did, and you were the one that pointed out, right? His love for Saul was unconditional.
Yeah.
It wasn't about who he was or what he did. Like, he just loved Saul. And like you said, it's so challenging because we love to put conditions and parameters on our love for one another.
Yeah.
And like, if you not for me, you against me, I'm gonna cut you off, I'm gonna let you go, you canceled, you whatever, right?
For petty stuff.
Yeah.
Not for throwing spears at my head.
Right, not for actually trying to kill me.
Like legit trying to kill me.
Yeah. And then David just loved him.
He did. And wrote a song for him. That's like somebody showing up at the funeral. Like,
it is. Mine told me it was a funeral song specifically.
oh, did he?
That's the way it even like the version. And actually, I want to say must have been ESV I was reading earlier because it's not here in my CSV.
Okay.
But it said he had wrote a funeral song, which I was like, that's an interesting way to put it. But yeah, like, he legit wrote a song for him. Like you said, show up at the funeral, black shades on.
Yeah. And now I'm up in the front singing at your funeral. Yeah, exactly. Why you gotta do that? The teardrops, right?
Pouring out for my homies,
Yeah,
man, for
yeah.
my brother. Yo, like, he loved me more than a woman, man. Like, we was close. That was my guy, man. That's what I see David did.
That's how he did.
That's how he started the funeral. Like, man, that's my dog, bro. Why they had to take John like that, man? Why they had to take my guy?
Take my dude like that. That ain't even right, though.
That ain't right, man.
I'm over you.
Man. It's messed up. Probably drop an F-bomb. They like, hey, David, man, chill out. We in the church. We in the church. You can't just drop F-bombs in the church.
Relax, David. Relax. No, he was too righteous.
Yeah, he was
too righteous.
F-bomb. But
yeah, like, and included Saul in it. That's crazy to me. Like, that's a different type of heart. That's a different type of heart. Like, his whole life is so challenging to me.
Yeah.
Because I be over folk. Like, I be like, the whole love, like, you guys, this is years.
Mm-hmm.
Years.
Yeah.
Give me 6 months. I'm like, dang. I'm so tired of them talking about me.
Yeah.
I'm about over it. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
But here he is, years on the run from somebody literally trying to kill him.
Yeah.
And shows up at their funeral, crying and singing.
It's crazy, man. To be like
and seeking revenge on their behalf.
Yeah. to be like David, man.
My goodness.
But
You need the strength of the Lord. See, he calls upon the strength of the Lord.
yeah, that's what it takes.
I need that strength.
That's what it takes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
yeah, it brings us to the conclusion of today's reading. We will continue in 2 Samuel tomorrow, chapter 2. And now we're in David's story at this point. Saul has passed, so we're on to King David, and we'll learn more about him and his story the rest of this week. But until then, take care.
Thank you for joining us for the VIBEZ Daily Podcast. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or download our favorite, the VIBEZ Church app. Visit vibes.church/devoted for additional episodes, notes, details, and the latest merch. Join us next time as we continue our journey through the Bible. Take good care.